This question actually goes in the order that I would expect it to go into, right? Based on the text, what would the author of text 1 most likely say about the experiment described in text 2? So I'm going to read this in order because I want to know first what text 1 thinks, and then I'm going to look at text 2 and be like, okay, I'm thinking about text 1 as I read text 2. So text 1, the idea that time moves in only one direction is instinctively understood, yet it puzzles physicists. According to the second law of thermodynamics, at a macroscopic level, some processes of heat transfer are irreversible due to the production of entropy. After a transfer, we cannot rewind time and place molecules back exactly where they were before, just as we cannot unbreak dropped eggs. But laws of physics at a microscopic or quantum level hold that those processes should be reversible. But it's too complicated and philosophical for me to really understand in a deep way, in a very quick way. But okay, fine. Something is understood or misunderstood. Yeah, right. Something's confusing. Confusing is basically what it is. I think did they use the word puzzling? Yeah, puzzles physicist. Okay. So now we're thinking, as we read text 2, what would this person say about what text 2 is saying? In 2015, physicist Tiago performed an experiment in which they confirmed the irreversibility of thermodynamic processes at a quantum level, producing entropy by applying a rapidly oscillating magnetic field to a system of carbon-13 atoms in a liquid chloroform. So they confirmed it's irreversible, right? It was confusing before, but now it's confirmed. Okay. But the experiment does not pinpoint what causes irreversibility at the microscopic level. Okay. So I don't know. Seems like there's still something confusing, right? Something is still confusing about this, still puzzling. All right, let's see what the answer choices say. What would they most likely say? It would suggest an interesting direction for future research were it not the case that two of the physicists who conducted the experiment disagree on the significance of its findings. Do they? What's the problem? They have another person. That doesn't mean they're disagreeing. It just seems that they're clarifying, right? Here we discovered this, and then we're still not completely sure about what we discovered. That's not a disagreement. That's just like a regular old statement. Yeah, this is wrong. B, it provides empirical evidence that the current understanding of an aspect of physics at a microscopic level must be incomplete. Must is very strong. Empirical evidence is a good phrase to know just for SATs in general. That means kind of like visible, right? Something that we can do with experiments rather than just like sometimes we think about things. We have equations and they tell us what should happen, but maybe we don't have any physical proof that that's the case. But provides physical evidence that the current understanding of an aspect of physics at a microscopic level must be incomplete. I don't know. I'm not thinking about that too hard. Let's move on. I kind of understand it. It's something about incompleteness, right? That kind of matches with the confusing aspect. I don't love the word must, but I don't know. Let's keep going. C, it is consistent with the current understanding of physics at a microscopic level, but not at a macroscopic level. No. They understand the macroscopic level. That was not really up for debate. It's the microscopic that's the issue, so we're not going to bring that in. The experiment wasn't about the macroscopic. It was about the microscopic. D, it supports a claim about an isolated system of atoms in a laboratory, but that claim should not be extrapolated to a general claim of the universe. No, it seems like they are okay with that, right? They confirmed it's irreversible. I don't think that the passage 1 person would say anything about like, good job on this experiment, but we're still unsure of things. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they would limit it to the lab and say, okay, this experiment doesn't count in some way. I like B. I like B because, okay, it is incomplete, right? We maybe proved that it must be irreversible, but we don't understand why that is the case, right? We proved that it has to be a certain way, but we still don't know like why it has to be that certain way, I guess, right? So honestly, this is a question where at this point I have reached maybe like 90% confidence. And on the SAT where I know time is running out, I would just pick B and move on. Maybe if I had some time, I would come back and just be like, maybe there's something to review. Maybe I can find some other information and really prove this. But to me, the fact that they're saying there's something puzzling, there's something confusing, and we don't understand it. Choice B is basically repeating that same idea. There's something confusing, there's something incomplete about our understanding in a very dumb, shallow way. That's kind of the same thing. So seems good enough to me, at least pick something temporarily and move on. And a lot of times that's what you got to be comfortable with, is you might not have the time to prove everything definitively and reread that passage a bunch and really dial into what the physics are in a certain question. You've got to be able to be like, all right, I've done the right amount of work to get to a level of confidence where I can move on for now. If I have more time, I'll come back. But you might not have more time. So you got to get comfortable with a certain level of uncertainty.